So, whew, I have a whole lot to say about a whole lot. And let me be very, very clear. I take it real personal that there has been an incident in Hamilton County, right? Involving Reginald Arrington Jr. Let me be very clear. I don't know him. I don't know him personally at all, right? But he is a man. And I saw the video, and there is no reason that he should have been mistreated and treated the way that he was treated. The violation was the pedestrian on the roadway law. That was the violation. To my understanding, he was walking on the wrong side of the road. It's crazy because I have made a series of posts on my Facebook page since I found out what happened, right? And it's crazy because this incident happened a while ago. It actually happened, I do believe they said, like 2 days before the death of George Floyd. And now we're getting this video that's surfacing and circling online. And I think, first of all, let me be very clear. I am in a whole different space than I was a few years ago, right? So a few years ago, I probably would not be this vocal, right? A few years ago, I would just be like, oh, I pray he's well and I hope he's suing. Like that's the end of it. I made a statement that I wish I was on the radio in Chattanooga because I would risk it all to speak truth to power. And then they hit me. I have a whole platform, multiple platforms that I can speak truth to power. Nothing holding me back from being very vocal about how I feel and action steps that I think should be taken so that we don't have a death in our backyard. I literally, in a lot of conversations that I have, I say like, man, Chattanooga is literally one bad decision from being nationally recognized as a place that caused the death of someone, i.e. a Black man, Black woman, Black child, because someone made a bad decision, because someone feared someone because of the color of their skin. People can act like, oh, I don't see color. You are a lie. When people say I don't see color, I immediately don't trust nothing that come out of their mouth. Because it's just not a factual statement. It's not. My two eyes work, and when I see someone, I see their ethnicity, I see their skin color, I see their tone. And then once I get to know that person, then I make a decision if I want to have them be a part of my life or not, blase, right? I'm bothered because there is this civil unrest across the nation, and there should be. It's time, right? I feel like Black people have not been disruptive enough to challenge the status quo. And that being the leadership, that being the good old boy system, that being that whole entire process, right? And so I am fed up. I am angry. I feel it in my body and my spirit. One of the reasons I'm so upset is because I have brothers and my dad and like people, mentors, people that are important to me. I want them to be safe. I want them to be able to walk down the wrong side of the road and not get beat by the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, those officers. It is so unfortunate that this is where we are, right? There's been an investigation because the dash cam was released. Let me make sure I get this right. Mickey Roundtree, Brian Killingsworth, Nick Dewey, Todd Cook, and Charlene, I guess that's Choate, beating this man. You can hear him crying out. I'm happy that his lawyer, watched all of that footage to get to that point that needed to be exposed. Sean King is sharing it on his platform to millions of people. Got the whole city looking terrible because of the bad decision of some, men and women within the sheriff's department that, I don't know their history, but they may possibly have a track record. And if they don't have a track record, there has to be checks and balances. There has to be mental evaluation of our law enforcement with everything happening in the country. There are people that are angry and just want some get back, right? There are people that are part of the protests that are definitely damaging property and being disruptive outside of just peaceful protesting, right? And I call out their names because these people need to be held accountable for their actions. I don't care what he did. It's no reason to use that much force. And then I read an article that basically said he laid down in the street and put his hands behind his head and complied because he already knew what time it was. And then the officer said he didn't have to do that. I guess they got mad because he wasn't resisting. So then they handcuffed him and then beat him while he's handcuffed. I can't wrap my head around that. And in the city of Chattanooga, God forbid something like this happen. And not to mention, there was an incident where a man was beat severely bad. And it's crazy because at the time I heard about it, but I really wasn't in tune with what was going on, right? And obviously we've had a pandemic, we are at home, and we have time to recalibrate and we have time to really look at things from a different lens and a different scope. And so that's why there has to be accountability. Like the city of Chattanooga, if something grossly wrong happened there needs to be accountability. I'm not saying that it doesn't need to be. But if something grossly wrong happens in Hamilton County, I need that same energy. I need people protesting. I need people showing up, challenging Mayor Jim Coppinger. I need people challenging the county commissioners. I need them being added. I need them receiving messages about what are they going to do to keep the citizens safe? What are they going to do to protect Black people, white people, any other ethnicity that is there? But more blatantly, there is systemic racism against Black men and Black women. We see it all the time. People fear the Black man. They fear the Black woman just because our skin is dark. We are automatically deemed a threat. I want to know, when I scroll on my timeline, when I read the articles, why people not showing up. Now, I will say this, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Attorney General Neil Pinkston has, decided to have a investigation to take place because of the dash cam, right? You can't just act like it don't happen. And then you got the current sheriff, Jim Hammond, saying, oh, well, let's not speak too soon. When is the right time, Sheriff Hammond? When is it need to be your kids, your family members, because there's always this, well, let's wait and hold up. Nah, like, there's no reason to wait and hold up, because that wasn't, like, the police force and the sheriff's office is the only profession where you kill somebody and then you're fired. It takes national, global attention for people to be charged, indicted, investigated before somebody do something. If you go and you work in Walmart and you get caught stealing, you're fired. We don't have to evaluate if you're going to steal again. You don't have to have a laundry list of misconduct. Nah, you out of there. So that's my point. That's what I'm saying. Like, there has to be a different way that we look at how law enforcement how they're chosen, how they're hired, their hiring practices, their backgrounds, like, all of that comes into play. There is no way a man or woman can properly police someone that they are naturally afraid of, because you're always going to be in fear for your life. I am pissed. I am livid. I am happy that Reginald Arrington Jr. is still alive. Thank God it wasn't his time to go. It shouldn't take death for there to be an immediate outcry. I call to action the people in Chattanooga as a collective, the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County, the county and the city, to reach across and find solutions, because this ain't it. One of my really good friends, Jimmy Thomas, tagged me in the Sean King write-up about what happened to Mr. Arrington. I didn't even know. And it's crazy because I've been dealing with like a bout of insomnia. I haven't been able to sleep. So, I was trying to go to bed early. I was trying to force myself to go to bed early because I was like, man, like I really, I got to work early in the morning. I was so disturbed in my heart and soul because I'm telling y'all, I don't want to get the phone call that is somebody that I know personally that has been brutally gunned down and not giving their due process, no matter if they live in the city of Chattanooga and no matter if they live in the county. I have lived in the city of Chattanooga and I have lived in the county. I know what it is. And it's crazy how people really do treat it like it's two different worlds. Oh, well, that's the county, so that ain't really us. But that's a problem. The whole thing, the whole systemic setup of power is a problem, because if those people that we elect are not standing up and representing the people and constituents within their district, then that's a problem. Mayor Jim Coppinger, all of the commissioners, that's a choice. These are people that we vote for. And then let me read, it's crazy because I think at the end of the day, there can't be this gloss over of someone being beaten like a dog, like an animal. And it's crazy because as soon as white people who are not allies get upset, as soon as they get upset, that's the first thing they want to do is call somebody an animal. Oh, well, they acting like animals. Oh, they doing this. No, they doing that. And it's crazy because when I look at the protests that are happening in Chattanooga, when I look at the protests that are happening across the globe, across the nation, I see such a diverse group of people coming together. It's not just Black folks out there by ourselves. We have to come to the defense of each other. And it can't take death. It can't take the ultimate ending of life for people to be vocal. I want that same energy. People running for city council seats because they want to see change in the community. People feel like their elected officials not doing a job. They feel like they can do a better job. We need that same type of vigor and campaigning in the county, which, if as a matter of fact, when I look at the layout, I think I only see one Black man, right? One, Warren Mackey. And let me be very clear. I am a former student of Commissioner Mackey. He is someone that I have always respected personally, and I love him dearly. But I'm holding everybody's feet to the fire. And I don't want to just call out his name. I want to make sure that I call out the other commissioner's name, because I am not okay. I am not okay. And let me tell you why I'm not okay. And I'm trying not to cry, and I'm trying not to get extra emotional, because again, I have people that I love in Chattanooga, and I need them to be okay. We have so many other things coming for us. We got COVID-19. We got, regular things that can happen. When it's your time, it's your time. But what I'm not going to stand for is any type of injustice on another person in the city that I love and hold dearly. That's not. I'm going to say something. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to use my platforms. We need to call out, and let me list it. Mayor Jim Coppinger. Somebody needs to say something to him. He needs to be held accountable for the people that he is putting in place to lead the sheriff's office. Randy Fairbanks, Chip Baker, Greg Martin. What is that? Berkshire Hathaway. Commissioner Warren Mackey. David Sharp, Catherine Jeter, who else we got? Sabrina Smedley, Tim Boyd, Chester Bankston, everybody. It's crazy because on social media, you can't even tag the sheriff's office. They don't want to hear from the constituents. You know why? On the flip side, it's not enough uproar. It's not enough disruption. You know why I wasn't mad because of Target or a Starbucks or a Wendy's is burned down? You know why? Now, I don't think any business should be burned down, especially small businesses, especially homegrown businesses, especially local businesses, especially minority, women, Black-owned businesses, especially businesses that have been birthed from human beings that care and are passionate about the work that they do. Don't think it should be burned down. But I will say that these corporations, these large corporations with these boards and want to give out these statements, and now they want to fund this and fund that. I want to see where the money at. How is this money impacting local communities? All of these dollars that's being funded, there are people in Hamilton County. I hope these nonprofits are reaching out for partnerships and grants for these funds that are readily available, because there are people in Hamilton County that I am sure are innocent, that I'm sure have been wrongly convicted, and they need some help, right? There are also, when we talk about these disruptions, one of the reasons I'm not mad about the disruptions, I'm not mad about the Wendy's or the Targets or the Starbucks or these large chains being burned down. First of all, they have insurance. First of all, they are prepared in case of something like this happens. And then, if a person can't go, a Cameron or a Chad or whoever can't go to their local Target or local, large chain establishment. I'm not mad at that. I want your life to be disrupted. I want you to pay attention to when, the people rise and there's civil unrest. I want it to bleed into your neighborhoods. I want it to bleed into your communities so that now you flip on your lens. Now you look at your children. Now you think about, when they go to school and they interact with other people, that they treat people the way they want to be treated. That is all. This is not political. It really is a human rights issue, but it's political when you have the people that are in place and that are in power are coming forward and not using their voices to represent the voices of the people. That's my whole issue with the whole political side of things. One of the things that I acknowledge about the city of Chattanooga is that the city of Chattanooga is not perfect, just like the county is not perfect. But what is important is accountability. What is important are action steps. So I've been paying attention in the city of Chattanooga. There are, protests, and there are people talking, and there are conversations, there's dialogue, there's this exchange that's happening. Whether people are getting everything they want, or, whether there is, some type of agreement being made, or some type of, reaching across the aisle and coming together, like all of that is important, because there has to be this realization and this acknowledgement that, there are systemic institutions that are set up that don't provide an equal playing field. It is what it is. And until those institutions are dismantled and reorganized and restructured, until we have voices that are in these rooms that are willing to say some uncomfortable shit, that's what you have to get to a solution. There's no perfect solution for everybody. Somebody's going to be pissed off. But there has to be some acknowledgement of we see the problem. We're going to work diligently to, correct these wrongs. Like with the police department and some officers and the sheriff's office, there is this idea that people not wrong. Like that, well, the officers are always right. This shit, what? There has to be some mediation. There has to be some accountability. Either we're going to have to be able to sue the officers personally, take their personal assets, and not just sweep it under the table. It's no way that you should be able to have misconduct take place in one city, be fired as a police officer or work for the sheriff's office, and then go to another location and be rehired. If you're fired from the city, your ass should not be able to go and work for the county. If you're fired from the county, you should not be able to go and work for the city. Like, there has to be some restructuring of how we protect people. The budget for law enforcement is so incredibly large. And it's like, let's best disseminate these funds so that we are de-escalating. There has to be continuing education. There has to be more than just having a high school diploma to enter the world of law enforcement. There has to be barriers that people, or thresholds that people have to achieve to be able to be amongst people as a protector, as a civil servant. It's so important to make sure that we are picking the right people, and we're not so desperate to hit numbers that we just take anybody that show up. I mean, that's how you get Mickey Roundtree and Brian Killingsworth and Nick Dewey and Todd Cook and Charlene Choate. And no, I'm not saying they're official sergeants and colonels and deputy. None of that matters to me. Your title doesn't matter to me because you neglected your title to treat another human being crazy. Beat that man like that. That was not regular self-defense. I'm not saying if somebody attacking you for you not to defend yourself. That's not what I'm saying. It's a hard job. You literally have made a conscious decision to work a job that you put your life at risk every single day. There should be some mental checks and balances to that regularly. Not only when someone discharged their firearm that they have to be mentally cleared to go back on the streets. There has to be therapists that are evaluating these law enforcement sheriffs and deputies and officers on a regular basis just to check their mental state, because things happen in people's life that alter their perception of other people. If that person has had bad encounter after bad encounter after bad encounter with someone Black, and then they put on their uniform and they go out in the community and they see someone Black, that may trigger them to treat the person that they don't know, that they have never met, more aggressively because of their own biases and experiences. That's my point. So there has to be a better job of how we select our law enforcement our servants, because that's what they are. They are here to serve. They are here to protect. And like, that's not something that can be swept under the rug or pushed to the side because it's happening in a county and it didn't happen in the city of Chattanooga. I see council members in Chattanooga attacked ferociously on social media and some in person with verbal attacks, right? I want that same energy, and I mean this and by way of not attacking anyone, but that same energy with how you vote, with that same energy with showing up to, now we're doing Zoom meetings and meeting, and now we are calling our elected officials and asking the questions. It's about asking the right questions, and if you're not getting the right answers, then it's about, okay, we got to check you off the list because you ain't working for me no more. So I can't vote for you no more. And we have to launch campaigns proactively to get these people out the way. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. I'm mad because it should not take someone to die for there to be civil unrest and for the people to rise up. Anybody getting mistreated, especially from law enforcement, should have the people should have their back. That's all I'm saying. The elected officials, the officials should have their back. They should want to hear everything that takes place. Sheriff Jim Hammond should want there to be a thorough investigation. These officers not even on administrative paid leave. So you mean to tell me they don't beat somebody senseless and they get to go back and police the community with no type of consequence, no type of action? They should at least not be in the community. And they absolutely shouldn't be getting paid when they have mistreated somebody for violation of pedestrian on roadway, the violation of the pedestrian on the roadway law. In what world does that make sense? It's broad daylight. You mean to tell me they couldn't beep and, hey, sir, you can't be walking that way. If you could just slide out onto the, the opposite direction of the street, or walking, the grass or something. I want to make sure you're safe. I don't want nobody to hit you. It is a violation, but hey, Black people don't get the benefit of the doubt. We don't get the benefit of the doubt And maybe he didn't even realize he was walking on the wrong side of the road. I didn't know it was the right and wrong side of the road to walk. Like a law, you don't know if you don't know. Maybe that could have been an educational moment where they could have put him to the side, even staying within their vehicle, and say, hey, just want to make sure you know X, Y, and Z. Hey, have a good day, sir. Like, and from what I've read, from my understanding, he actually, was in fear for his life and laid on the ground and put his hands behind his head. And, they beating him and the man is cuffed. He can't even defend himself. Like, what are we doing? What are you doing? What are we doing? What are you doing? Man, listen, I don't claim to be an activist. I don't claim to be this, social justice guru. I don't claim to be any of that. I am a person concerned about my family members. I don't want my brother to be a Reginald Arrington Jr. I don't want my dad to be a George Floyd. I don't want to be Breonna Taylor. We still trying to get justice for all of these people. And now their families will never get to hug them no more. They don't get to see their kids grow up. Breonna Taylor, if you get a chance and look at her Twitter, she had hopes and goals and dreams and aspirations for starting a family. When I look at her, I see me. Because I know when I came into 2020, this new year, this new decade, all of the hopes and dreams and goals and aspirations that I have for myself, that I have for my family, that I have for my friends, for the people that I care about. And literally all of that could be over. I am not a get on social media and cry person. But I'm not going to not use my platform to speak on the injustices that are taking place, especially when now it's in the backyard. It's happening at home. I got family that live in Ooltewah. I got cousins that live in Ooltewah. I frequent the area. I have church members that live in a whole community in Ooltewah. Predominantly a Black suburb, a Black neighborhood. There are officers and there are people at the sheriff's office that I am sure do a fantastic job as public servants. God bless you. Because you cannot tell the good cop from the bad cop, the good sheriff from the bad sheriff. You don't know who rolling up on you when the police are called. And that is an unfortunate situation. So my call to action is to reach out to your elected officials, to continue to call the sheriff's office, to put pressure on Mayor Coppinger, to make sure that this isn't swept under the rug. As pissed off as we are at what's happening in the city of Chattanooga, as pissed off as we are, and we stand in solidarity with George Floyd and just the endless names of Black men and Black women who have been senselessly murdered. Eric Gardner, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, shit, that dude wasn't even a police officer, and he took it upon himself to feel like he could murder somebody. We gonna wait till somebody is murdered. We gonna wait till somebody die before we protest in Hamilton County, before we show up and demand that the hiring process be under review to become a part of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Somebody got to die before we, look at how we're doing work and how we are hiring police officers in the city of Chattanooga. Like, somebody got to die at home. I don't want nobody to die at home before we continue to be on their necks. And I am very intentional with using that phrase, because if we don't hold our elected officials and our sheriff departments and our, police departments, if we don't hold them to a standard, if we don't make them understand that you can't just beat somebody handcuffed and think that it's just going to go away because they didn't die, they would be on administrative leave and not even fired if Reginald Arrington Jr. would have died. So I challenge, the people that are vocal in Chattanooga about what's going on. I challenge them to continue to lift their voices, to continue to challenge the status quo, to continue to run for these elected seats. If you feel like you can do a better job, do it. But also run for county commissioner seats, run for school board seats. If you are truly caring about what's happening with law enforcement, we need to have that representation. We need to have Black people on boards and, owning companies and not having to silence ourselves because we scared that we're going to lose our jobs, or we scared that, like, I thought about that statement that I made. I was like, oh, if I was on the radio in Chattanooga, I'd be willing to risk it all. I shouldn't even have to risk it all. That shit should be a part of the regular conversation, to be able to, challenge people. One of the things that I did at Powering before that I absolutely looked forward to is because I had the opportunity to invite Mayor Andy Burke on to my radio show on a regular basis. That's actually how we really started to forge a friendship. And I started to get to know the people within the city of Chattanooga governmental structure, because I was inviting him. I asked about the budget, or why, we are having funds allocated here, and what does that really mean? And then we also had some fun banter, but it was real questions about what are we going to see happen in the city of Chattanooga. We need that same energy for what's happening in the county. That's it. That's my TED Talk.